Hello, everybody. This is William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage. Online, www.myhopeandmarriage.com. And what My Hope in Marriage is about is just to provide you with resources, to give you information, to educate you so that you can forge ahead with a fulfilling and happy marriage if you choose marriage. Okay? And I've been married for over 35 years, and I've been studying marriage for that amount of time, originally because I wanted to have a good marriage. So I pass on that knowledge and the things that I've learned and observed and experienced on to you. Okay? All right. With that said, let's get on to the topic of this video. What I'm going to talk about is a concept about marriage that I rarely hear discussed when people are talking about having a good marriage, being a good husband, being a good wife, that type of stuff. And that simple concept is this: the wife is for the husband. The wife is for the husband. All right, there's a wife's side and there's a husband's side. Now, I know before some women start doing backsimiles and throwing food at the screen, your monitor. I'm not saying that the wife's job is to be her husband's servant. All right, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is her purpose is found in the husband, being the wife to her husband. Right? In the Bible, God created the woman to be a helpmeet, a helper, all right, to her husband. In this case, we're talking about Adam. And if you would note in the biblical, in Genesis chapter 2, chapter 1, you'll find that they both had dominion over God's creation. So it wasn't as if the woman was subservient to the man, or she was inferior to the man. She was not inferior. She just simply had a different purpose. And her purpose was for the man. God created the man, and then she created the woman because it wasn't good for him to be alone. He needed a helper, a helpmeet. He needed a companion. All right. So the purpose of the woman the purpose of the wife is for the husband. And what happens is when I hear people talking about, especially women or wives, when I hear them talking about their marriage or their husbands, they're usually complaining about how he doesn't put out the trash, how he doesn't help clean up the house, and so forth and so on. All right. But I always ask, well, what have you done for him? You are his helper. All right, maybe he never was taught to clean the house. Maybe he was never taught to do the dishes. Well, you talk about it. You discuss it with him. You ask, don't come on him like it's something that he's supposed to do. Just say, I would like for you to help me with the dishes. Now, any good guy, any good husband is going to want to help his wife, in a sense. He's going to want to provide for her. Of course, you're going to help each other, but her purpose is him. His purpose is her as well, but his purpose is a little larger because he's the head of the wife. He's the head of that family, right? And I don't want to get into that. I just want to stay on the point that the wife's purpose, the wife is for the husband. So you have these people, these women that complain about their husbands and how he's not doing this and doing that, when it's really the wrong question, or you should be asking another question. What can you do for him? Now, guys, that also means that you have a responsibility. What are you about? What are you doing? All right, are you just sitting around? Are you trying to treat your wife as your mother? She'll wash the clothes and all this kind of stuff. No, you have to have a purpose, a God-given purpose. You have to be going somewhere. Maybe you're going to start a business. Maybe you're just going to be the role model for your family and perhaps your neighborhood in manhood or whatever the case may be. But you have to have a purpose. You have to be going somewhere. You have to have a mission. Like Adam had a mission to keep the garden, to manage God's creation, and he had a wife to help him do it. So if you're not doing anything, that woman may decide to start stepping up and doing things that you should be doing. So you have to check yourself. This is not a blame the woman game. It's just that women, so many women, especially today, after falling for this feminism type stuff, not for the feminist movement, all right, where they're independent, they can do things for themselves. I hear videos all the time where women say they don't need a man. I mean, that's just totally ridiculous. It's totally stupid when you really, really think about it. What men do on this planet, as far as infrastructure, as far as protection, as far as building stuff, doing dirty jobs, hovering over the family, you need men. And I'm going to give you another, let's say, statistics about that. You have three environments that you can raise a kid in. Now, this is how important this is, all right? Especially for the ones that say, I don't need a man. You have three environments for children. You have one where you have the nuclear family. You have the husband and a wife working together. You have the single parent mother, and you have the single parent father. In the nuclear family, the children, I'll just say for practical purposes, not to get too deep into it, they fare better. Less, suicides and drugs and crime and stuff like that. They fare better in the environment, in our society. If a child is raised by a nuclear family, a husband and a wife, a mother and a father. If a child is raised by just the father, single parent father, then that child, those children raised under that father, tend to do just as well as those raised in a nuclear family. All right, but here's the kicker. Now, this is statistics. You can not like it all you want, but this is the statistic. Children that are raised in a single parent home by a mother tend to do worse in society. They tend to be more, teen suicides, crime, and so forth and so on, depression and things like that. They tend to fare worse. And also, they tend to be a lot more emotionally governed, which is why you'll see guys just do stupid stuff because they're just responding with emotion. They're not thinking about it. My father always said that a man is characterized by responsibility. You can't allow your emotions to take you away from what you're responsible for. All right? And the wife is supposed to help him do that. But what happens a lot of time with these independent feminist women is that they undermine what that man is trying to do in his family. All right? He'll lay down the law, let's say, but she'll come and appease the child and let him off the hook. All right? So we have to remember that the wife is for the husband, not the children, not the career or the man. The wife's purpose is in that husband, and she should work with him to accomplish great things for their children, for their lives, and ultimately for society. Yes, she may need help washing the dishes. Yes, she may need help cleaning the house. But I'm going to say this. Who said it's the woman's responsibility to clean the house? I believe I grew up in a household where, my dad would clean, my mom would clean. Now, my mom would wash the clothes. But who said? You can set the boundaries in your own relationship. Maybe the guy likes cleaning. But besides all that, we got to remember, especially the ladies, your purpose as a wife is found in the husband. For example, you might hear someone say, well, what makes a good wife? And you can go down this laundry list of stuff. Well, a good wife is a hard worker. A good wife, takes care of the house, and a good wife, boom, 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 boom. No. What defines a good wife comes from the husband. He has a specific person that he wants or needs to work with him to accomplish his God-given purpose. So what's good in a wife is what he needs. And that woman is a good wife when she meets those requirements, when she's a helper, when she works with him, when she's a team member, so to speak, when she's supporting him, encouraging him, helping him to be at peace, not bringing up war in the house. She how can I say it? She brings about peace. She's a catalyst for peace in the house and in his life. And together, you have a much better chance of having a happy relationship, a fulfilling marriage. So we have to remember that the wife's purpose is in the husband, not the other way around. And that also means that, men, you've got to be responsible. You can't be a simp, and just always want to please her. That whole nonsense about, happy wife, happy life, that's a bunch of garbage. That's crap. Flush that stuff down the toilet, because that don't work. Yeah, you might make her life happy. Yeah, you might give her everything she wants and appease her and do all that kind of stuff. But at the end, you're miserable. And then you don't accomplish the things that you dreamed of because you're too busy simping out on her. And it should be that you should be a team. The two become one flesh. The wife is not inferior to the husband. All right? But her purpose is for him. But too many women make their purpose the children, the career, church activities. And they throw their husbands aside. They neglect the very thing that they should be nurturing. It's been shown that men can do a better job at raising the kids than women alone. Okay? You got to let that sink in. That's statistics. I'm not talking about my philosophy and all that. And it was a rude awakening to me when I started finding out about this modern stuff, because the women that I grew up under, like my mom and women in my mother's generation, they weren't like that. They knew their place, so to speak. And the household was great. Yeah, there might have been some stuff between them that we didn't know, but they kept that from us. So the important thing, guys, here's the important thing. Here's the takeaway. Remember that the wife is for the husband. You're trying to pick a woman to be your wife, to be your partner, to be a companion for you as you accomplish the great things that's inside you, ready to be birthed, ready to be nurtured. You want somebody by your side that's going to help you do that. And together you do it. You don't want another liability in your life. You don't want just another liability, some woman that you just got to take care of, while she just does everything else except nurture you and be your helper. All right? So that's something that's very, very important. I think you should remember, especially guys, when you're thinking about marriage, or if you want to course correct your marriage, remember, the wife is supposed to be about for you. Not the other way around. Her purpose is in you. Okay? Well, I hope this helps. I really hope this helps. God bless you. And until next time, be blessed.